Can you hear this? Can you hear the burnt bottom?
Today, we're making plov, a rice dish that's popular around the world. We're gonna cook in a cast iron pot, hoping to brown some of the bottom bits so we get a bit of crispy rice at the bottom, kind of similar to the Cantonese clay pot rice or Spanish paella. This recipe is inspired by the clay pot rice recipe by Chinese Cooking Demystified. They really worked out how to cook clay pot rice at home, even with induction. Definitely check out their channel later. So, let's cook the rice. Precision today is the name of the game, so we're gonna scale everything. And from experience, I always scale the scaling bowl, just in case the scale decides to save the environment by switching off automatically. So, the bowl is 240 grams. We have 2 cups, about 2 cups, 257 grams of long grain jasmine rice. What you want is to achieve a 1.1 to 1 water to rice ratio, but a true ratio, because when you rinse the rice, it absorbs a bit of water. So the best way to calculate this is that we measure the combined weight of the water-rice mixture. So you basically multiply this by 2.1. So you want a combined weight of 540 grams after rinsing and adding the water. Now, let's rinse some rice. As you can see, just by rinsing, the rice took on about 30 grams of weight. That's why we're using the combined method. All right, hot water in until we achieve the combined weight. This will par cook the rice, making it easier for us to achieve the burnt bottom. We set this to the side for 30 minutes. While that's cooking, we'll prepare the toppings for the plov. So first, we want to render the fat from the lamb mince. So, hot pan, a touch of vegetable oil or any high smoke point oil, and the lamb mince goes in. You want to break it apart in the beginning. And you season. Salt, black pepper is optional. While that's cooking, we prep the vegetables. Very simple. Peel some carrots. We make matchsticks. You don't have to, you can mince them as well. So, carrot slicing always sounds like a very therapeutic idea until about the 10th slice. Then you wished you used a food processor. Rendered lamb fat and carrots, they go so well together. It's incredible. Oh, by the way, I'm using 2 different kinds of carrots just for colors. You don't have to if you can't find yellow carrots. I wouldn't use the purple kind just because it would cloud the whole thing. As you can hear from the mince, most water has evaporated. Now it's starting to brown a bit, which is exactly what we want. Maillard reaction, browning. Meat at high temperature, that's what gives you the meaty flavors. Carrot goes in. Once again, we salt to help them release the liquids. So instead of half an onion, 1 shallot, you choose. And we just cook until everything is translucent and the lamb fat is well absorbed. If at any point this starts to burn, you can always just add a dash of water and lower the heat a tiny bit. So don't worry too much. The steam that's coming out, that's the vegetables evaporating their water content. This will concentrate the sweetness of both the carrots and the shallots, while they also take on some of the flavors of the lamb. Now that everything is translucent, I'm gonna add just a dash of soy sauce. This is by no means an authentic recipe, so please forgive me. This would add a bit of color and a bit of umami, savoriness. And soy sauce burns quite easily, so make sure you lower the heat before you add the soy sauce. And that's our topping ready. We'll set it to the side to keep warm, and we wait for the rice. All right, we're nearly hitting the 30-minute mark. At this point, we oil the pot with a neutral oil, in this case, vegetable oil. And you really want to work the sides to make sure the rice doesn't stick to the sides and we get some crispy bits even from the sides. I mean, I tend to avoid adding too much oil. I tend to skim off some fat, but this is the one exception. You don't want to be on the stingy side when it comes to oiling this. And this whole thing goes in. And you do your best to form one even layer. That's good enough for me. Lid on. High heat. We want to bring this to a boil. At this point, you want to preheat your oven to 230 degrees Celsius fan, because we're going to finish this in the oven afterwards. Once you can hear that it's boiling, 8 minutes. All right, after precisely 8 minutes, during which I lower the heat once steam started to come out to medium, we check on our rice. As you can see, the rice looked almost cooked, but we're gonna take it to the next level. First, we need to oil the sides again. If you have a squirt bottle like me, great. If not, just be very careful not to burn yourself. So we oil the sides. I mean, if you're on a diet, this is the wrong dish for you. And this is the only occasion where I deviate from the Chinese cooking demystified clay pot rice recipe. I'm adding the toppings right away because unlike most clay pot rice toppings, the lamb and carrots are quite sturdy and I want to give them time to release their juices and fat to combine with the rice. You want to form just one layer. You don't want to crowd the pan too much. That's it, don't be greedy. You can save the rest for later. Remember, the lid is really hot. Now this goes into a 230 oven for 20 minutes. All right, after 20 minutes precisely, we take our pot out of the oven and you want to give the bottom one last chance to crisp up. So high heat for 30 seconds. While that's sizzling, we will slice some chives for garnish. As much chives you could slice in 30 seconds. I don't know, I don't have a timer. Has it been 30 seconds yet? All right, that's it, I think. Didn't factor in this part. Smells incredible. Look at this beauty. Wow, beautiful sizzle. Oh, incredible. And now 30-second chives. You want quite a lot for brightness to balance the lamb fat and the sweetness of the carrots. I mean, you could add an egg to this, by the way, but I think my recipe has pissed off enough grandmothers. I would refrain from doing that. But you can. And off camera, I will. And something this beautiful, you just want to bring it to the table and serve immediately and let people fight for the burnt bits. This is a variation on the traditional cloth, my way. I hope you enjoy.
Can you hear this? Oh my God. Can you hear the burnt bits, the burnt bottom? Oh my God. It's incredible. Now you just mix the whole thing together. Oh yes. Even the sides. Sideburns, if you may call that. Oh yes. Wow. This is incredible. This is what we wanted all along. Oh. Oh my God.